Hi, this is Tom Childers. Right in between orange, which represents civil society, and yellow, which is represented by sovereignty, we have a ideology that it combines man as a rational being and like natural rights that we were endowed by our Creator, which is it's like a eternal truth that is like worship is basically appreciated and worshipped by, you know, it's the heritage we have inherited from Judeo-Christianity, and that also like is reflected and reappears in a lot of other traditions and cultures around the world. And so like the idea that we are as individual is an aspect of most. It's very difficult to not see ourselves as individual, but like to what extent is like a big question that we have to like deal with. And well, one of the things that Jesus talks about is that no matter the law or what you think you know, the truth is like what, you know, is the be all and end all, because no matter however you get there or however you got there, it doesn't change the fact that right now you're here and it is the way that it is. And so you are the one that's got to deal with it. And so you have to, you don't just have the right to, but you must. It's what life is. And so anytime you pass off the responsibility of what it is that you would do or what you would want on somebody else, you're not being truthful. You're changing the game. And he and his Father, he who sent him, knows, and he would not do that. He wouldn't recommend that you do that. Now, there's people that like hide from truth, and there's people that recognize truth, but they also recognize that we're not the best. Like, we can't be trusted at the highest stakes to know truth at its core, like it all the way down. And so there are people that you know, sacred truth, sacred wisdom is things that, it's like the idea of it's not questioned, but it's not because it's not questioned, it's because it's been questioned the most, and it has withstood questioning for the longest times and by the most different ways of looking at things. And so you don't have truth without sacred wisdom, and you definitely don't have sacred wisdom. You can't get there without truth. And so for like another aspect, the other part of the Holy Trinity is the Holy Spirit and knowledge. And knowledge is different than truth, because knowledge has to do with things that can be, you know, that can be true or not true. You know, it's like it deals with things that can't even be evaluated as true. It's like if you set up a system that's like, you know, a mechanical system and it works out, it's like the way that you set it up and the rules that you follow, it's like it's not really something that's true or not true. I mean, it's hard to. It's part of a body of knowledge, and it's almost immaterial whether it's true or not. I mean, to make for it to be knowledge, does it have to be true? Time will tell. it's like knowledge is something, whether or not it's true, because you don't know how you're going to apply it. It's a body of, it's something that you know before it gets tested as true. And you don't even, there's not even a way of measuring it. You can't, it's mostly irrelevant whether it's true, and we are suffering from that, like, dire circumstance of no man's land, where we have so much knowledge and we don't even know how to understand what's true. And it doesn't slow down the pace of generating knowledge. We get more and more knowledge before we found out what any of it was true in the beginning, in the first place. But as it turns out, with high volumes of access to knowledge, and the ability to create more knowledge, what ends up, the institutions and technologies that get developed that allow you to create useful metrics to handle knowledge get created, and it makes it like easier for people. And at the same time, those same forces and powers that undermine the human like morality and the positive generation of knowledge and understanding truth, they end up getting created too. So we have like platforms that at the same time are built upon the premise of spreading the knowledge amongst people in a culture, and also are the formats, you know, that do the canceling of the cancel culture. And so it's like a difficult bind to be in, and it's inescapable. Like, we're not going to be, there's no way out of dealing with sacred wisdom, knowledge of the deep blue and sun that can only illuminate what the sun shines its light on at a time. This is funny how it sounds. Oh. Right here we have an idea of civil society. It's a very complicated idea because we have a hole in our understanding of the world where it's been erased from our textbooks. Like, it was on its way out when I was in high school. Our global studies classes were effectively us studying other societies that had disappeared. And then in high school we had this, or I can't remember, it was like some social studies class where we learned the words norms and mores. As it turns out, mores isn't even in our spell check. It's not even a word. It was only used to describe the ways that we would live in other example societies that nobody even knows who they are or the way that they even live. We actually learn things that have absolutely, we have proven that the things we have learned in school that we dedicate resources towards and focus all our energy on, it's irrelevant. It's not even just irrelevant, it's we learned things that have been proven to be wrong and negative, have a negative effect on those who have learned it. And so that's like something that is like, it's like undercutting the understanding what a civil society is. We should have a better understanding of civil society. In like the 70s, 60s, 50s, the classes had civics class, and we actually had that in my high school too. And so we know a little bit about what, we study like national politics. But I think does us a disservice to jump straight towards national politics when we probably should have, like, for example, studied, like what's the zoning ordinances and the rules and the laws for our civil society, because as soon as we get out of the school, we're going to be engaging in our civil society, and there's like maybe we'll get a job in the civil society, or maybe our job is going to be organized by the regulators, administrators of our civil society. It's like we're not lawless. It's not anarchy, and there's no king, monarch that's saying what the rules are. There has to be some like middle ground. If anybody was going to be extremely moderate, it would be like against revolution, permanent revolution, anarchy, breaking down all the way into the might is right at the individual level. Oh.